So, welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Coach Oscar, Coach Dean, corporate coach from LPT Realty. It's an honor to be here with Coach. Thank you
Likewise.
so much for being here.
Likewise.
And we're gonna talk shop right now.
Okay,
So,
cool.
tell me, what are your thoughts about this 2024 thing? I have a vibe. There's something happening in the real estate environment that promises a lot for 2024. What is your feel on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, in order for us to go through that vibe, we had to go through the down that we had.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go through this, the trying to figure things out. Things were confusing to a lot of people. Where you're starting to see some signs, and that's one thing that our CEO has been talking about. In the fact that interest rates made a huge impact on people's thinking, and we're starting to see some changes. Right? I believe for the first time in many years, we actually have gone through a shift. This has been a shift hold. It's like stopped, it froze. And then we're kind of waiting for the back end to happen. And the back end is, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like sellers are just ready to pounce.
Yes.
Right? It's just like they're just waiting for a market to get to a certain point, and okay, let's list, honey, let's list. I saw a commercial on Facebook the other day, and it really kind of helped me analogize this whole thing. There's an app out there that you can actually sell your car with. There's several, but there's this one particular app you can sell your car. And so the husband is sitting there and says, "So you're going to sell the car to you?" She says, "Yeah, I got it on there now." She goes, "We sell now?" She goes, "No, hold." She goes, "Hold. We're going to sell now?" "No, we're going to hold." "Sell now." Right? And he jumps up because he's laying in bed, and he jumps up scared, and they got like top dollar for their house.
Yeah.
I analogize that to what the real estate market's getting ready to do.
Yeah, and I feel the same vibe with the sellers because the area that I do farming is a really mature environment. Everybody has been living there for decades, and we went into that 2022 craziness that our houses were like triple or fourfold of what we bought them decades ago, and now everybody wanted to sell. Now they just don't. They're just waiting for their houses to go back to where they were, or maybe better.
Yeah.
And that hype is happening on the seller side, but also the buyers that are being holding off and getting ready to pounce at the same time.
Right.
Because when you work with the buyers, they were hesitant because of the interest rates and the recession and the hyperinflation, and they didn't want to see their bank accounts depleted on a real estate transaction. But at the same time, they're just getting ready for that special moment in 2024. And I think it's very accurate that you said that we needed to go to a level of frustration to renovate, to purify the approach, the environment, the realtor that has been struggling really to get a customer in front. So, what are your thoughts about that buyer's market right now?
Well, right now, I mean, the buyers are still, like I said, they're kind of waiting around too. The affordability is what it's all about. It's not about the price of the house. It's not about the interest rate. When I graduated high school back in 1981, interest rates were like 17 to 21%. You could get credit cards these days for that amount of money, right? I mean, but that's what it was back then. But you know what? I knew I'm a history buff. So the history that okay, there we go. So the history I found was prior to that, the time that they actually were keeping records from prior for about 30 years, that was the highest selling years in the market at the highest interest rates. So it's not about that. It's about the need. See, a lot of it was baby boomers were just now starting to be able to afford houses in 1980s, late 70s.
Yes.
See, now we're coming to the fact where the baby boomers are now here because the baby boomers are a huge impact on our society.
Yep.
And they're the ones that kind of the last of the money. Right? So now they're in a situation where they're older and they're at a point where they're going to be selling their home for the last time, giving it to their grandchildren or whatever. Downsizing to either a smaller place or into an assisted living facility. Something's happening to them, thus creating a market. But here's the thing: it's not just a few; it's a lot. And that's where that buyers thing are waiting for those homes to be there for them to be able to purchase. They've already been through their 7 or 8 houses that they bought in their lifetime, and some of the people who are just starting, and now we're in a market where they're just starting offline. They're not even seeing the houses and they're buying them. That was not even heard of back in the day, right? So there's a lot of different mentality that's taking place. But I think buyers too are kind of like on the prowl to try to figure out what's happening. Here's the thing, and this is my concern. This is a very concern of mine. With the agents that I've been coaching and the agents that I've been in contact with through the classes that I've been doing, they're like wondering what's going to take place next. So my charge is don't wonder too long. Because if
Right.
you're not ready for it, when it happens, see, as a society, we have a reaction.
Hmm.
There's a difference between reacting and responding.
Hmm.
Respond, you think about it, then you do something. React means you actually just right something happens. You get burnt, you
Hmm.
react, right? So the thing of it is, if we react when the market changes, we're kind of late. We're behind the eight ball. If we prepare now with the materials that we have for doing listing presentations and talking to sellers
Hmm.
about listing their homes, being prepared to do a presentation with a buyer, it's called a buyer analysis or a buyer
Hmm.
consultation. You need to talk to them to find out what they want because buyers don't really know what they
Hmm.
want until they see it. We don't know that we're going to buy something in the store until
Hmm.
we see it. It's just a natural instinct. That's
Yeah.
why we know so much money is made, in the retail end.
Hmm.
It's the same thing with homes. People don't get it until they feel it,
Hmm.
right? So we have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And if we're not ready to be able to give those presentations and then we start getting ready after that, everybody else has got their piece of the pie and you're going to get the crumbs.
Right. Something I was telling some of the agents I coach these days is that whomever was doing their homework, regardless there were clients or not, whomever was getting the boxes from our brokerage, uh, uh, distributing that material, going online, doing ads, Google, Facebook, Instagram, just being there consistently. Those are the ones that are going to have the big serving
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of the first quarter
Mm-hmm.
because their brands are already engraved into their audience, and it's about engraving that brand into people. So when they're ready to tackle, they think real estate. Next thing they know is you, and that way they go and do your business with you. So those that are were like waiting until the market restarts. It didn't stop actually.
No,
I was doing
no.
some research this week about it, and it's basically flatline for the past 12 months. The difference here in Orlando on sales houses was only 206 when compared with October 2022. It's not a big significant difference on less sales. Prices have been stabilized but still going up.
Mm-hmm.
Listings are going up
Mm-hmm.
and wait times are going higher. So the market hasn't stopped. So this perception that realtors had that the market was stalling or was delaying, I think it hurt a lot of them.
Yeah.
And right now they're realizing like, oh my God, it didn't, and I didn't do anything.
So who stopped the market?
Exactly who?
The agent stopped the market.
Exactly
The
the
mentality
agency.
of the
Yeah,
agent
yeah.
stopped the market,
Yeah,
right?
they just chose
They
not to be
thought,
out there, and the buyers were going without
I agree.
realtors. So one of our agents went to one of the pre-constructions here in Lake Nona, and while she was taking care of one customer, there were about 25 coming in and out without a realtor. So the ones that really stopped the market were the
The
realtors.
realtors, and,
Yeah.
and that's why I think
Wow.
that's why I feel that the things that I bring to the business through a coach of mindset
Mhm.
has really helped because my concept is I want to get agents, especially LPT agents, because that's who I'm working with mostly,
Mhm.
is I want the agents to understand that this is a business of relationship, not a business of sales.
Mhm.
This is a business of coming in the side door, not coming in the front. In 2002, when I started this business, I knocked on the front door. I said who I was. I'm here to save the day. I understand you want to sell. How can I help? Come on in. And I do my pitch. They sign the paperwork. I
Mhm.
walk out. I put a sign in the front door. I put a lockbox on it, and I go back and I get it in the MLS. It's not like that anymore.
No.
Because of the crash I talked about earlier,
Mhm.
because of the pandemic, the mentality of people have changed. John Maxwell said something 20 years ago, and he is like totally on point today. People don't care that you know until they know that you care.
Mhm.
We have got to be passionate and caring people toward the people that we run across because I'm going to tell you this. If we learn as real estate agents to come in the side door like a neighbor or a friend or a companion, business will triple.
And that's why farming has never been so important than these times, because
Yes.
it is a real nightmare for all realtors that the neighbor put a sale sign and it's not theirs. We don't know our neighbors. We They need to know us. They need to know who we are. Sometimes we drive hours to sell a house in the middle of nowhere when we have 40, 50,000 houses in less than a mile, and people need to know who we are.
We need to start and
And
work our way
I
out.
think another thing that hindered them a little bit was that during the pandemic, we got used to being in the office. We got used to do everything via
Yes.
Zoom. We
Yes.
got used to use technology all the time. We got some of us who became agents around that time. I've been an agent for almost 4 years only. I became an agent on 2020, 1 month before the pandemic hit, February. So
Congratulations, and you're still here.
thank you. I'm here for a long run. I just had that vibe because I come from an online environment on my other line of work, and I saw that agents love to be at home doing businesses from home, and it was at some point doable and attainable because of the amount of people buying because of the low interests. But they either didn't learn or never been on the other side of the marketing, which is the offline marketing that LPT provides so strongly, being on billboards, giving the listing power boxes, community activities, community events, finding that
Direct mail,
direct mail.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
Mail still works.
I remember
Mail never stopped.
I had a listing in Davenport and I did direct mailing and I got 4 more cases out of that, and it was just one run.
Yeah.
You know, usually with direct mail, you need to do like 2 or 3
Yeah.
just to get the vibe from the community. Well, just on the first run, because it is about being out there. It's about selling that brand to the buyer.
Yeah.
And also selling that brand to the seller.
Yeah.
If you're going on the listing side, or even if you're going on the renter side, there's people moving. We still have people living in hotels. We still have a lot of people living in hotels. America has 3.2 million houses in a shortage. There's the money's out there.
Yeah.
We just have to be the intermediary between the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
And that's all there is. What would be in your opinion, what would be the best opportunity for an agent that came out of the cave and said, I'm going to do this? I didn't do it during the summer. I didn't do it during the fall. But I'm ready to come out of the cage and I'm ready to tackle. How can I just be there and be part of this huge momentum?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'll tell you why it's so great. We still are in a situation where we think that we were getting into a sales business. We are selling properties, but we have to look at it as a relationship business. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm a psychological person. So I'm going to take this into the psyche of what people think. Okay. First of all, if you, Oscar, your car breaks down and you need a mechanic and you're new to town and you don't know where to go, who's the first person you talk to, or where's the first place you go to find a mechanic?
Well, I will go to the person who showed me the area before I moved in here. If they know someone, I will go to someone that I know.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when you first came here, who was the first person that you came in contact with?
My wife's aunt.
Okay.
And uncle.
All right. So do you trust your wife's aunt and uncle?
I have to say yes.
Okay. Okay. That's the right answer. Regardless what you feel, that's the right answer. So the point of it is this, okay? People, first of all, have to like and trust you. 90% of people will work with you if they like and trust you. But they will not like and trust you as a real estate agent because you're a profession. But they will like and trust you if you've been referred. They'll like and trust you if you've built a relationship with them, because what if your aunt was the real estate agent that actually found your first home when you moved to Orlando? That agent should not just be a real estate agent. That agent should be a resource machine, right? We've heard of Angie's Lists. It should all be you.
We are mobile Angie's List.
You are mobile's Angie. I love that. That's exactly right. You should know people in your neighborhood. You should know the local mechanic. You should know several. You should know painters. You should know electricians. You should know doctors. And yes, guys, you should know where the nail salons are.
Yes.
Even if you don't get your nails done or not, you should know where they are.
Big place for decision making.
Because, yes, there's a lot of captive audience there, right? But here's the point of that is people will come to you because they want to know where your mechanic is that fixed your car. One day they're going to come and say, hey, Oscar, I got to sell my house. I got to sell it fast. Do you know a real estate agent that I could call? Well, actually, Keith, I think I do. Matter of fact, he's one of the best I know. Really? Who is it? I said, when would you like to talk? Let's sit down and talk now. It's me. It's what I do. Oh, it's what you do. See, the thing of it is, what's one of the biggest shocks that real estate agents have? How come you didn't ask me to sell your house? I'm a real estate agent. You said it earlier. They didn't know.
They didn't know.
But they don't know unless you tell them.
You're a secret agent.
You're a secret underground agent, right? Yeah.
Until everybody knows who you are. And I mean, there's people sometimes ask me, how does it come so naturally for you to speak about real estate and having these conversations all the time. I'm like, well, everywhere I go, I make sure that I speak about houses, and I create that momentum online, offline, everywhere. I had a real estate agent that was on my coaching, that he was very hesitant to belong to any group.
Hmm.
He was like, I'm not a church person. I'm not a study person. I just like to be on my own. I like to be by myself. And I'm like, well, you have the biggest problem, because in this career, whether if you're the shyest, and we're not talking about that, but whether you're the shyest or you simply don't care about people, if you're antisocial, you're in the wrong
Wrong
profession.
business. Hmm.
Yeah, because these relationships, we can just have a bunch of leads coming out of nowhere, but our big business comes from the effort of building those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the big heavy with that is there's only one thing that can describe what this business really is: people talking to people.
People talking to
People
people.
talking to people. And if you make it any more than that, you put too much pressure on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So here's one of the things I've been talking to my agents, and maybe you can help with your agents as well. See, this is a power of psychologically getting them to know who you are without telling them who you are. So I have a slogan, and I call it having a real estate conversation without talking about real estate. And everybody looks at me kind of funny. Well, how do you do that, right? So what if you said, someone asked you a question on how you feel? Well, in the industry that I work in, real estate, this is what I noticed about that. And then you talk about whatever they wanted to talk about.
I see.
Now, it doesn't matter what you say at that point. Do you know they're going to know who you are?
They
They
will.
know what you do,
Yeah.
right? It's no different than saying, because here's the bottom line. I never think of my dentist until my tooth hurts.
Correct.
I never think about, and if I'm really, really faithful about me keeping my teeth clean and making sure I'm highly, have high dental, what's it called? Hygiene,
Hygiene.
right? Then every 6 months I think about my dentist.
I think about him every night.
You're paying, you got
And
a toothache every night?
yeah, no, the $1,000 that I spent the
Oh,
last
okay.
time that I went there, I'm like, no, I'm doing this. I'm not going there again.
Okay, but the thing of it is it's real estate agents are no different. They're not going to
Mhm.
think about you unless they have a real estate need,
Exactly.
unless you do the power of suggestion. See, this interesting thing about the brain, when you go to college or you go to school or you learn something, when you see it again, it's called recollection. There's a storage bank back here, and I'm not going to get technical. I'm just going to be very simple about this. There's a storage bank, and when you see something, you recollect it. It comes to the top of mind. It's called top of mind. It comes to the front of your brain, and you actually you remember some of the things about that.
Mm-hmm.
People are the same way. And here's the scary thing. All I'm asking my agents to do is to get into people's heads. And if they know who you are and something comes up that's anything remotely related to real estate, and would you please tell me what isn't? Because most everything has something to do with buying or selling or living in homes or something with a home, right? Then your name comes top of mind eventually, and it's not just a one-time thing.
This is what I tell the agents. For those who didn't get the psychological part, when I think about cream cheese, I think about Philadelphia cream cheese.
Okay.
Right? I haven't seen a single ad of Philadelphia cream cheese in my life. But when I think about cheese, I think about cream cheese. I think about Philadelphia, because I've been on the market and I saw it once and I tasted it and I liked it, and I cannot see any other brand of cheese out there for cream cheese that is not Philadelphia. And that's branding recognition. And when we're able to do the same thing, to harness that power of suggestion, and getting those and getting the people to think real estate, next thing they learn is your name. It will make perfect sense. Sometimes something as simple as a it's a little sign, like an 8x4 on a fence on a highly transited avenue that everybody's going every day, 30, 40, 50,000 cars going there, and they see your name, they see your brand, they're going to remember who you are. And when they have their need, they're going to contact you. It just happens so organically.
That's it.
So what is in your opinion, what is the biggest trendy marketing strategy for the next year? What is sounding like it's gonna be a lot of hype? I'm not talking about success. I'm talking about hype.
Activity.
Yeah.
Talk about the activity that they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, One thing that we have to do and understand is we're very comfortable people. And we get very locked into that comfort. It's like you said earlier, they get locked in when they're doing business at home and they're
Mm-hmm.
comfortable and they're in their jammies and they're going up to get coffee and they're going to they're doing multitasking while they're working, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're getting comfortable, but they don't get a lot done until they get uncomfortable. So when they sit down at their desk on a certain morning, it's like, I got to get this done. And they get it done. They're uncomfortable, but they get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest thing this coming year is you really need to get uncomfortable. And some of that uncomfortableness is white knuckles,
Knock
knocking on
knock.
doors, knocking on doors, right? We're in a different field now, than a different era now than when I first started. And it was a little safer back then. And it's not as safe now. So team up,
Team
right?
up.
When in doubt, don't. My mom always told me that. If you feel that there's a threat, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it, right? You know, but the thing of it is, the thing of it is this is an eyeball to eyeball business.
Mm-hmm.
They can't build a relationship with you until they see you.
Yeah.
Until they actually have that communication. Right now, it's kind of funny because when I went to the conference last year with LPT and St. Pete, when we met someone would tap me on my shoulder and say, "Hey, Coach Dean, how you doing?" I just stood back and went, hey Oscar, how you doing? Good to see you. Because I had to, it was kind of like one of those things. And it was, I didn't have to do it, but that's how I recognized you, you know? So we got to get past that. I don't want to be a TV star. I want to be an actor in front of you. I want to be someone that I can build a relationship with, and I want you to be an actor with me and talk
and that's
converse.
it's great that you mentioned that, because I tell my agents that we are not influencers, we're realtors. And something that happened during the pandemic is that we were so focused on shining bright in the social media and learning the algorithm and learning Instagram and learning Facebook and learning how technology works and this app to make you look better, filters, no filters. I saw so many agents wasting time creating content that it was empty content, because at the end of the day you have no business. People are not coming to you because you're entertaining them. People come to you because they trust you, because they respect you. And we need to step aside from that influencer. I mean, 98% of the marketeers, they recognize that marketing as an influencer works. But that's a different thing. Being a marketeer, marketing as an influencer versus being an influencer. People were like, Oscar, you should make your own YouTube channel and let's team up. Let's go to this huge mansion in Ocala and make videos and have you talk by the pool. And I'm like, that sounds fantastic. But first of all, I'm not the Ocala guy. Second of all, I'm not into luxury. And, it's just not business. It's just an illusion.
But you can take what you just said and the agents out there, if you're a master at what's going on with social media, just take that and convert it to one-on-one. Do the same thing and just do it to one-on-one. I'd like to tell a true story of an experience that I had with a company that does marketing. And they did an actual survey. And this was a true story, and it actually happened. And so I want to share this with you. This marketing company was advertising to agents that we can do what we call an 8x8 drip campaign, which is 8 touches, right? So you could do 8 touches in 8 months or 8 weeks. They were doing this on a weekly basis. So what they did was they went into this particular neighborhood and they took a survey. And the survey was 4 questions. Who's the most prominent agent in this neighborhood? Right? What are they doing well? What could they do better? And would you use them to sell your home? That was the 4 questions. So they go through the neighbors, about 350 homes, and they got a little over 50% of that done. So they got to kind of have a gist of what was going on in the neighborhood. So they came back and put all the data together. And you know what? There wasn't a prominent agent. The majority of the homes were being sold because somebody said, hey, who sold your house? Can I go talk to them? Or, because there's 3 things that happen. They ask a friend who sold their house, can I interview with them? They contact the person that's been contacting them. Or they drive out of the driveway on the way to dinner one night and they see a sign in their neighborhood and say, well, he knows or she knows a lot about this neighborhood because they got a listing. Let's call them. That's how they sell their house, right? So what this company did was they actually said, okay, let's test this. So they created a bogus real estate agent. Let's call her Sally Realtor, Joe Realtor, right? Create a nice picture, create a business card, create an email, a website, and basically did marketing with recipes and market stats and local events and things like that. 8 straight weeks they put stuff out there with the picture and contact information. They all went back on the ninth week and talked to the same people that they talked to first time and asked the same 4 questions. Who's the most prominent agent in the neighborhood? What are they doing well? What could they do better? And would you use them to list your home? And can you tell me who the most prominent agent in that neighborhood is?
Joe Realtor.
Joe Realtor. And Joe Realtor doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Why can't you do this?
Oh my God.
No, wait a minute. That's a mic drop all day long.
That's like, let's get out
right,
of it.
Right? You know, think about that. If a nobody can do that, and okay, so let's take this around and realize what Robert Palmer has done for LPT Realty that other realtor brokers have not done.
Mm-hmm.
He's provided that exact feeling, that exact marketing strategy in a box
Mm-hmm.
that is at cost. You pay for shipping and you get it. And even if you pay the $130 or $140 for it,
Worth it.
oh my goodness. And you get one deal out of it. You can't go anywhere to get that return on money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with just one deal a year, you can buy like how many boxes of that? Like 500?
I have an agent that I said that to, and you know what he told me? Coach, I'm buying 4 boxes and I'm just going to go empty them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did. And he got part of that 50% deal with that Robert put on for everybody, that LPT provided. He's got $1,000 worth of marketing dollars that he's going to use between now and the end of 2024. And his first purchases were 4 boxes. And he says, Coach, I'm just going to do what you said. Because I have people ask me, Coach, what would you do? Because I know I would do well in this market if I wanted to sell real estate. I said, well, what I would do, you probably wouldn't. He says, well, what's that? I'd say I'd take one of those boxes, put it under my arm. I'd have my action marketing plan, my 9 critical questions, and my 7 home buy strategies, and I go knocking on doors in any given neighborhood that I wanted to farm. And I introduced myself and said, hey, this is Keith with LPT Realty. I work for a marketing company that sells real estate, and I want to be able to share with you in about 10 minutes what my marketing is, and I'd love to get your opinion. Mm-hmm. Would you tell me what you think? Is this something that you would use to sell your home with?
Well, of course.
Right? And are you getting business out of that? It's not about getting business.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to take that out. If you walk away and you don't get any business, we have a tendency to feel like we were a failure. Mm-hmm. When actually you planted the biggest seed there ever was. And all they have to do is remember that. And they take that one piece of material that you left them and they put it in that favorite box. They put it, you know what the master place to be for a real estate agent is?
Where?
On the refrigerator.
Right?
Yes. Once you reach the refrigerator, you are there.
Forever,
right? Yes. You are there. Okay. But where are you you're gonna be in that home in some form or another. They're gonna remember you. If it's not now, it's sometime. Mm-hmm. And then all you do is just keep in touch with them. Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to share something with you about the market that's been going on in your neighborhood. There was 2 houses came up for sale. Get their information. Right. Mm-hmm. Do you know what a perfect database is?
What?
Name, address, email, phone number.
That's it.
That's all you really need to communicate with people. You need to know who they are and believe. And here's what you go deeper in your database. Name of their children, name of their dog, the place they like to visit, some of their best restaurants, things of that nature. That's what helps us understand them as individuals. Mm-hmm. And when we start coming to their home again, knocking on the door and say, hey, Oscar, how you doing? How's Fido doing? Last time I saw him, he had a lampshade on his head. What's going on? Is he okay? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he's doing fine. Oh my goodness! You talking about relationship?
Yeah.
Right.
But if you win the dog, you win the house. For sure. I'm a dog person, and when I go to a house listing presentation, the dog's coming in, and I just go down, crawl, and pet the dogs for like 3-4 minutes. Forget it. That's
my favorite is when I say, they never do that to strangers.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I guess I'm not a stranger.
Yeah, definitely. So those agents who just came out of the cave and they're ready to tackle, in short, marketing, get out
there.
Understand market, become omnipresent. We talk about omnipresence in my coaching program because everything that people does during the day, you have to be there somehow. Mm-hmm. And this is the work. This is the job. You have to get yourself out there and people actually know who you are every single day. And don't stop when you have a customer, for God's sake, because this is something agents do. They get one client and they dedicate 12, 13 hours to just that client, shopping around, answering questions, thinking about them, talk about the mortgage, talk about the payment, talk about You stop talking about the person and just keep getting others, because you have this one and create a workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Because once that contract is over, once you get that paid off, you're done. You have nothing else, and you wasted what, 45, 60 days
Yeah.
for
And
closing
it's
time.
not who you know that matters, it's who they know.
Who they know.
See, because you have a realm, even your best friends have a
Mhm.
different circle.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in every circle,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I want to know who they know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every family has what I call an Uncle Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
See, Uncle Eddie knows everything about everybody, who's getting
Everybody.
married, who's selling, who's
Yeah.
dying, who's right. He knows everything.
Yep.
And if you talk to him or her, right, then that's who I want to know, so I know who to talk to next.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We as real estate agents in this industry in 2024 need to not concentrate on one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to concentrate on just selling that property. We need to concentrate on how many people can I be introduced and get to know off of that one property.
Mm-hmm.
How many properties can I use it as an excuse to do my job?
Mm-hmm.
When I started this business, I realized very quickly that I could get business off of other people's business because they weren't doing their job.
Exactly. So it's not about you having a listing and then making business out of that listing alone. You could have zero business right now and simply ask, can I do an open house in your listing?
Yeah.
Can I help you advertise your listing? Can I be there every weekend? Not only you learn about that person that already had a listing and you never did, but you're also using that as an opportunity. I remember I had there was this beautiful manufactured home in Holopo, and I went to visit it with a client. They didn't like it. I loved it, and I asked the listing agent, "Can I showcase this on my websites?" And she was like, "Absolutely, just go ahead." And I did it for a week, and 12 more people came to my database just because of that. $0 spent. It's not about spending a lot of money on leads. It's about getting out there, people learning who you are, knowing the market. You need to dedicate at least 1 hour a day to see what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I always say one thing you learn every day is 365 things you learn in a year.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
at first sometimes you don't know something, but then when you start learning and you become a student of your profession, you start learning things and picking up language that you never thought you were talking about before, like average square feet. I had no idea what that was at some point, right? So it's about knowledge, it's about marketing, about getting knowledge. And I think if you want to really really raise the bar, and correct me if I'm wrong because you've been here for longer than I have, but I haven't seen any single agent being hugely successful without a coach.
I agree with that. And you know what? I've been doing this for almost 21 years, and guess who has a coach? I do.
Exactly.
I need one.
Yeah.
You need to have some, if nothing else, you need to have someone, and that's the agents that I'm working with that are doing this business at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody outside looking in. It's kind of interesting because I'm a very passionate person, if you haven't picked it up on that yet, but I love what I do. And I have agents call me. I had one call me last night, and she's in the middle of this issue, and she's just so off the charts, and I got to let them vent. I got to get it out of your system, and I'm the one to do
Mm-hmm.
that with, right? And then I just give her a solution, and she goes, how can you be so calm? This is like really. I said, look,
Happens all the time.
it's not me, and I've been there. If you've never been to a place and you're riding down the road and it's pitch black, you're looking. I mean, on the way over here, I'm not used to being here, and I'm just trying. I mean, it's been a long time since I lived here. I lived here for 5 years, 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, it's changed. So I'm looking to see where I need to go. But once I go and I come back, then you're familiar with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is how we are in this business. I've been there. I haven't been everywhere. I haven't been in every single deal, but I feel it and I feel the emotion. But you need somebody outside looking in. You need somebody with this
Mm-hmm.
because one of the qualifications of being a real estate agent is
What?
being squirrely, chasing shiny objects. Boy, they take off quick. Coach gets you back into line again and gets you straight and focused on what you need to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And my coach does that. And one thing my coach told me, and it is so, so true, the day you schedule a time to meet with your coach and you like, oh man, Oscar told me to do this and I haven't done it. I don't think I'm going to meet with him today. That, my friends, is when you need them the most. When things are not going well is when you need your coach. Exactly. Utilize that coach for your business.
Yeah, because sometimes they just want to use you when you use your services when they actually have a transaction or something happening, because we already had this conversation, so we don't need to have it again. I just didn't do my part, so I'm not gonna bother your time because we're really on the same place. And no, that's the time. I mean, that's where you learn, because probably you didn't do your work because you didn't want to, but sometimes you had a life event that was major and need someone to say, hey, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right, let's try harder next time.
Yeah. And
Or sometimes, like my coach, he loves to say ugly things to me. I think he enjoys it.
He messes with your
He
mind.
messes with me, he knows who he is. And he's like, Oscar, you need to focus. Last time we talked, he told me, you lost your vision. And I'm like, oh, I was so angry. Like and then we apologize and we make amends. But I was so angry because he told me I consider myself a visionary, but I lost my vision. I forgot my focus. I forgot where I was going.
But see,
And that came to a level of frustration. But I would have not been able to recover from that without that tough conversation with the coach.
Because you didn't see it.
Because he doesn't say it from a perspective of harming me. He says it from a perspective of, let's build you back up.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I had it happen to me yesterday. I was talking to an agent, and the agent, I told him not to take the listing because it was too high. And he took it anyhow because he needed it, right? He needed it. Well, off of that, he's gotten 3 other listings off of that. So now that's not so important. Well, it fell apart. And he said, I said, so what'd you learn? He goes, not to take high price listings. And I'm like, oh, wow, isn't that interesting? But he was mad at me when I told him to cut it out. Cut it out. That's not your head, man.
Yeah, I got these buyers saying, these agents saying, I have a buyer. He only has he's ready for $200,000 homes, and he wants 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom next by Millennium Mall, and they only have $5,000 cash in their account. And I would really want to help them because I feel for them. I'm like, they're not ready. Who are you helping? Move on. It sounds like a deal. It looks like a deal. It's a shining object, but it's not gold. And in my experience, those, correct me if I'm wrong, but the toughest transactions are the ones that I make the less commission.
Oh, absolutely. And the best deals I've ever done in my life are the ones I haven't.
Exactly.
Because as a coach, you understand, and we understand that is the mindset of doing business. And if we focus on those negative things, those things that's not happening, we miss so much more.
We miss so much more.
And we don't realize it until we go through it.
Yeah.
And this particular agent went through it and said, oh, coach, is that why you let me go through this? I said, absolutely. Because now you kind of understand what I mean when I say that some deals you don't want to do because they're not, as you said, that's perfect saying, they're not ready. It's not that you're not ready. You know, they're not ready. We have to know that we want to work with people who want to work with us. We need to work with people who are ready. Are we going to just throw them away? No, we're going to stick them on the back burner. Maybe that's an old saying, but it's literally just putting them aside and staying in touch with them and checking on them every now and then, see how they're doing.
And I love how Lofty help you with that, because we put them in the back burner, auto mail. They receive thousands of emails, text messages, and that's just you raising your hand like, hey, we're here.
That's all you're doing. That's all
they don't have to open the email. And like, I'm sending this, I've sent 300 emails and they didn't open a single email. I'm like, they don't have to open the email because in the subject line it says Oscar Hernandez Realtor, and that's all they need to see. Oscar Hernandez Realtor.
And with you saying that, it kind of goes back full circle to this marketing that we talked about with the direct mail. Understanding, and most people are like, well, you do the direct mail and you send it out, and they look at it and they throw it away. They're thinking they're thinking that they wasted their money.
Exactly.
When in actuality, they did what the job was. It got into their mind, and you know what? God created us in a way we can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's in there permanently.
It's there forever.
Our vision, right? Windows to the soul. Our vision sees things that we will recollect and see again. All I'm asking you agents to do is get in front of them more. And you can do that through that marketing. You get through that power pack and get into them more. And eventually it's going to come a time when they're going to need you and they're going to say, where's that card that I left here? Where's that piece of paper that realtor, what's his name again?
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to find it.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole thing is about. And being able to do direct mail properly is for us to understand that we have got to get in front of people more. And I'm going to leave on this one last point. Agents have a tendency to want to tell them everything on the first visit. So the mentality back in 2002 was to get in front of them. And if we walked out the door and didn't have that piece of paper signed, then we failed. It's not that way anymore. And as a matter of fact, you want to be able to take things to where you want to give it to them. And then Don't give them everything, and then give them a little bit more. Make them, I challenge all of you to make people ask you to list their homes, not you ask them, because the relationship changes. When someone asks you and hires you as an individual, it changes than me trying to convince you that I'm the person for the job.
Exactly.
Right. So I think the biggest challenge for 2024 is to be able to get out there, have conversations with people, and to be able to plant those seeds. And don't worry so much about getting the business. Worry more about building the relationship.
You want to say that again? Don't worry about getting the business. Worry about building the relationship. I think that's solid goal. 2024 is a year of relationships. The only way that your business is going to grow, business or not, it's when your relationships grow, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
This was awesome.
This was I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
we
this.
definitely need to do this again.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Thank you.
You guys take care.